It was supposed to be a day of closure, a day when the pain would finally begin to fade. Or so I thought. I'm standing at the edge of the graveyard, the dark, gray clouds swirling above, matching the heaviness in my chest. Alice, my wife, had been gone for 2 weeks. The car accident, sudden, tragic, a nightmare. It's still so raw that I can't even talk about it without feeling my throat tighten. The church is full of grieving faces, people sobbing, their tears blending into the drizzling rain. Everyone around me is in agony, and I can feel their sorrow in my bones. But then, something happens. A chill runs down my spine, and my heart skips a beat. I approach the coffin, my legs heavy, like walking through molasses. I'm prepared to say goodbye, to feel the weight of her loss settle in for the rest of my life. But when I look inside, the coffin is empty. No Alice. No body. The hole inside me widens into something far worse than grief. It's panic, fear, confusion. My stomach turns. I take a step back. No one says anything for a moment, but the murmurs start, building into frantic whispers. The priest stumbles over his words, trying to offer some explanation, but he's just as bewildered as we are. The funeral director, sweating and nervous, steps forward and admits, in a trembling voice, that the body disappeared just yesterday, the day before the funeral. Disappeared. The words echo in my head, louder than anything else. The crowd goes wild, people pushing each other, shouting for answers. But I'm frozen. It's as if the world around me has come to a screeching halt. I can barely breathe. I'm not sure if it's grief or terror, but either way, my mind is racing. What does this mean? Why would someone take her? My eyes scan the people around me, but everyone is as lost as I am. And then, my phone buzzes. I pull it out, hand shaking, expecting to see a text from one of my colleagues, or maybe an update from the police. But no. The message is anonymous, and the words are sharp, cold. If you want to know where she is, come to the Lily Rock Motel. Bring cash. Don't trust anyone. I stand there, staring at the screen, trying to comprehend it. I glance up at the chaos unfolding around me, the tears of the people who loved Alice, the panic rising like smoke. And just like that, a decision is made for me. I don't even think. I just start walking, heading straight for the exit. My mind is already racing ahead. Who would take Alice, and why? A ransom? A body snatching for some insane reason? The thought feels insane, but it's the only lead I've got. As I get into my car, I don't look back. The words on my phone are burned into my mind. Don't trust anyone. Trust. Trust in a world that had just ripped my life apart, that made no sense anymore. I turn the key in the ignition, and the engine roars to life, taking me toward Lily Rock Motel. The Lily Rock Motel is a rundown place, the kind of place you only go to if you're desperate or trying to disappear. The neon sign flickers above me, casting a sickly green glow on the cracked pavement. I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't this. The air smells stale, like old cigarette smoke and something else, something foul. I pull into the gravel parking lot, the tires crunching beneath me, and sit in the car for a moment, staring at the dingy motel. It feels like a scene from a bad movie, the kind of place you expect shady deals and whispered promises. A part of me wants to turn around, to go back to the safety of what I thought was my life. But I can't. Not now. I step out of the car and walk toward the motel's office. The door is slightly ajar, and the bell above it rings as I enter. The air inside is thick with the scent of dust and cheap perfume, the kind you'd expect to find in places like this. Behind the counter, an older man with a thick mustache glances up at me, his eyes sharp but uninterested. He doesn't ask any questions when I approach, and I don't bother asking him where Alice is. There's a strange quiet in the air, like we both know there's something bigger going on here, something that neither of us wants to put into words. I'm looking for someone, I say, my voice rough, the words barely leaving my throat. The man nods slowly, like he's waiting for me to go on, but I don't. Instead, I pull out the crumpled message from my pocket and show it to him. His eyes flicker for a split second, but that's all I need. He knows. He hands me a key without saying anything, and before I know it, I'm walking down a narrow hallway, the sound of my footsteps echoing against the peeling walls. The room I'm looking for is at the end, number 12. My heart beats faster with each step. When I reach the door, I stop. I don't know what I'm expecting to find on the other side, but it certainly isn't Alice. I knock once and then twice. The door opens a crack, and there she is, alive, standing right in front of me. I can't speak. I just stand there, frozen, unable to process what I'm seeing. She's different, somehow. Not just in appearance, but there's something about her that's changed. something that feels both familiar and foreign, but in the way she looks at me. Calm, detached, like she's been expecting me. Alice, I managed to say, my voice trembling. How is this possible? She doesn't flinch, doesn't seem startled by my shock. Instead, she simply steps back, opens the door wider, and motions for me to come in. I couldn't live with the lie anymore, she says, her voice as steady as I've ever heard it. The truth is worse than death. I want to scream, to demand answers. But I don't. I'm still in shock, still trying to make sense of everything. The woman I married, my wife, the person I thought I knew better than anyone, is standing in front of me, but she's not the same. The way she speaks, the way she carries herself, it's like she's a completely different person. I don't understand, I say, my voice breaking this time. What happened? Where have you been? Why did you disappear? But she doesn't answer. She just stands there, watching me with those unreadable eyes. I want to shake her, to force her to explain everything, but I can't. She looks like she's been through hell, like she's carrying some weight I could never imagine. Alice, please, I plead. I need to know. You can't just. She holds up a hand, silencing me. Her gaze softens, but there's a sadness in it that I've never seen before. I can't tell you everything, she says, her voice low and pained. Not yet, but I can give you something. Something that might explain it all. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small envelope, handing it to me. This is for you. It's the key to a safe deposit box. Everything you need to know is in there. Before I can say anything else, she turns away, her movements deliberate, like she's already made her decision. She walks toward the small window, her back to me now, and the moment feels final, as if everything we once had is slipping through my fingers. I'm sorry, she whispers, almost too quietly for me to hear. And just like that, she's gone, disappearing into the shadows, leaving me alone in a room filled with unanswered questions and the weight of everything that has been hidden from me. The envelope in my hands feels cold. My fingers tremble as I open it. Inside, I find a small slip of paper with a bank name and a number. I don't hesitate. I know what I have to do next. I drive to the bank in a haste, the weight of Alice's sudden appearance pressing down on me like 1,000 pounds. Her words are a jumble in my mind, spinning around like a whirlwind, and I can't quite grasp them. She's alive, but she's not the same person I thought I knew. What the hell is going on? I keep repeating her words over and over, trying to find some meaning, some answer hidden in them, but the harder I try, the more elusive the truth becomes. She says the truth is worse than death. Worse than death? What could be worse than this? The bank is a large, sterile building, one of those places where everything is shiny and polished, giving off an air of cold indifference. I walk inside, still holding the envelope with the bank name and the number written on it. My hands shake as I approach the teller, a woman in her 40s who looks like she's seen it all. I hand her the slip of paper, trying to keep my voice steady. She doesn't ask questions, just nods and leads me to a back office where a large, heavy safe deposit box sits on the counter. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, but I can't stop myself from reaching for the key that Alice had left me. This is it. This is the moment that will either shatter everything or piece it back together. The box creaks open with a sigh, and I almost expect the world to change with it. Inside, there's a flash drive and a stack of documents, all neatly organized. My stomach churns as I pick them up. The flash drive feels cold in my hand. Its black surface glossy and unremarkable, but I can't shake the feeling that it holds the answers to everything I need to know. I take the documents first, leafing through them quickly. They're mostly typed reports, old and faded. I barely register the words, my mind too focused on the flash drive. What could Alice have left behind on this? I have to know. I can't wait any longer. I make my way to my car, the entire drive back to my apartment feeling like a blur. I sit down at my desk, plug the flash drive into my computer, and wait for it to load. The screen flickers for a moment, and then it opens, revealing a folder with several video files and a few documents. I click on the first video, and the image that appears on the screen nearly makes my heart stop. It's Alice. But she's different. The woman in the video is older, darker hair, and a completely different look than the Alice I married. She's in a foreign country, sitting across from a man. The man is David Sloan, my best friend. My closest friend. My head spins. What the hell is going on? Alice and David together? And not just together, but in a wedding ceremony. The footage is grainy, but the man is unmistakable. I can't believe what I'm seeing. How could I not have known? The video cuts to another clip, this time showing them in what looks like a hotel room. They're talking, but I can't make out the words. Alice is sitting across from David, listening to him, nodding, as if she's agreeing with everything he says. My hands are shaking so violently now that I can barely click the mouse, but I force myself to watch. This wedding, this ceremony, happened 2 years ago. But Alice and I were married just 1 year ago. The timeline doesn't make sense. Alice had to have been married to David before she even met me. I click on another file, this one a series of photographs. Alice and David again, but this time they're in a different country altogether. The photographs show them walking through a crowded market, holding hands, sharing a quiet moment in what looks like a cafe. But this isn't the woman I know. The woman I know would never be involved in something like this. What is this? Why does David have all of these photos? Why did Alice keep them hidden from me? The truth is starting to unravel, piece by piece, and with each new revelation, my world is crumbling around me. I click through more videos, more documents. There are encrypted emails between Alice and a man named John Malone, someone I've never heard of. I don't understand half of what's written, but the name keeps appearing. John Malone was involved in something shady, something criminal, and Alice's name is on the files. It looks like she was working with him. But why? What was she doing? Who was she working for? The more I dig, the more questions arise. But there's one thing I'm sure of now. Alice wasn't the woman I thought she was. She had a past, one that I knew nothing about. A past filled with lies, secrets, and deception. And in that past, David Sloan was a part of it all. But the most unsettling thing of all is that the footage and documents clearly show something that I hadn't even considered. The wedding between Alice and David, it wasn't a romantic thing. It was a cover. Alice wasn't in love with David. She was using him. But as I watch the videos, something shifts in me. Alice may have married me to escape this past, to hide away from whatever darkness she was running from. But David found her. He always did. And now, I can feel it. This isn't over. It's just beginning. The more I dig, the deeper the rabbit hole goes. What I thought was a tragic accident, a simple, heartbreaking loss, is now an intricate web of lies, deception, and dangerous secrets that I can barely wrap my mind around. As the hours pass, I start to piece together more of Alice's past, but the more I uncover, the more questions I have. The woman I married, the woman I thought I knew, was hiding a life I could never have imagined. A life filled with danger, espionage, and covert operations. She wasn't just some woman with a few dark secrets. She was a former private intelligence agent, someone whose past was far more complicated than I ever could have known. And David wasn't just my best friend. He was a part of it all. I sit at my desk, surrounded by the mess of documents, videos, and photos Alice left behind. My head aches from the weight of everything I've learned, and the more I think about it, the more it feels like I've been living in a lie for years. Alice and I weren't a love story. We were a cover, a facade built on mutual deceit. But I wasn't supposed to know that. Not until now. I flip through more files, but there's one thing that stands out, something that's always been right in front of me, something I've been too blind to see until now. Alice's other identity, Vivian Blake. Vivian Blake wasn't just some fake name. It was the name Alice used when she was working undercover for a private intelligence agency. She had a job, one she couldn't talk about, one that involved high-level operations that I can't even begin to understand. She was tracking down criminals, exposing corruption, and taking down dangerous people. That's when she met David, when they crossed paths in a case that was bigger than anything either of them could have anticipated. They both became entangled in a scam, a multi-million-dollar fraud involving an identity clinic that was laundering money for corrupt officials. It was supposed to be a routine investigation. But somewhere along the way, Alice got too close to the truth. Too close to the danger. And that's when everything changed. Alice left that life behind after everything went wrong. She faked her death, created a new identity, and married me. It was supposed to be a fresh start. But she never truly escaped. David found her, and he dragged her back into the mess they had both tried to leave behind. The more I uncover, the more I realize how little I knew about Alice. She wasn't just running from her past, she was hiding from a threat far bigger than I ever imagined. But what really confuses me is the betrayal. Alice was using me as a shield, as a cover. She married me to disappear, to create a life that could never be traced back to her past. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Alice, Vivian, fell in love with me. The woman who was trained to deceive, who had lived her life in the shadows, genuinely loved me. And that's why she had to disappear. She couldn't let me get involved in the mess she was running from, the danger that had been following her for years. She had to disappear to protect me. She didn't want me to be a part of the game anymore. Didn't want me to pay the price for something that wasn't mine to bear. I don't know how long I sit there, staring at the screen, but eventually, something else catches my attention. There's a name, John Malone. He's the one who was behind the operation, the mastermind of the fraud that Alice had been investigating. He's the one pulling the strings, the one who made sure Alice, Vivian, was never truly free. But why? What does he want? And why was David involved in all of this? It's then that I realized the full extent of what's happening. I'm being hunted. I'm a target now. Someone is planting false accusations against me, framing me for crimes I didn't commit. It's not just about Alice anymore. It's about me. Someone wants me silenced. Someone wants me to disappear, just like Alice did. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Every person I thought was on my side has turned out to be part of this twisted game. David, Alice, the people who hired her. They're all connected, and they've all been playing me for a fool. I can feel the walls closing in around me. It's not just the past that's catching up with me, it's the present, too. People I've known for years are suddenly acting strange, and I can sense that something is wrong. I start to notice the subtle signs, the way people avoid eye contact, the whispers when I enter a room. I don't know who I can trust. I don't know who's in on it and who's just caught in the crossfire. But one thing is clear, I'm not safe. Not anymore. I'm determined to find Alice. I need answers. I need to understand why she did what she did, why she left me in the dark, why she allowed me to believe that everything was normal when it was all a lie. But finding her won't be easy. I don't know where she is, and I don't know who's after me. But I'll do whatever it takes to get to the truth, even if it means risking my life. The hunt for Alice consumes me. I follow every lead, no matter how small, tracking down people who might know where she is, piecing together fragments of her life that had once been so carefully hidden from me. I know now that I'm in over my head, that everything I thought I understood about the woman I loved is just a carefully constructed lie. But there's something else driving me now, something more powerful than the need for answers. It's the hope, irrational, desperate, that somehow, against all odds, Alice is still out there, and that I can fix this. I need to see her again. I need to hear her voice, to have her explain why she did this to me, to understand why she couldn't just trust me with the truth. Days pass, and every corner I turn only leads to more danger. People are watching me. I can feel it. The threats grow more blatant. Anonymous messages, strange faces in the crowd, cars tailing me wherever I go. Whoever is pulling the strings is closing in, trying to make sure I never find Alice. But despite the fear that claws at me, I don't stop. I can't. Not when I'm so close. It's late one evening, almost a week after I last saw her, when I finally catch a break. A low-level informant, someone who had worked with Alice in the past, contacts me. He says he knows where she is, but he won't give me the information for free. He wants money. I don't care. I'll pay whatever it takes. He tells me to meet him at an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. I don't hesitate. I don't even think twice. I know it's a risk, but I have to see Alice again. I have to know why she did it. I arrive at the warehouse, the place eerily silent, save for the distant hum of traffic in the background. My heart is pounding in my chest, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. The informant is supposed to be waiting for me inside, but the place is empty. I step cautiously through the door, my footsteps echoing in the dark, and that's when I see her. Alice. She's standing there, in the shadows, her face is pale as a ghost. She looks exhausted, beaten down by everything that's happened, but still, she's beautiful. She's alive. For a moment, neither of us speaks. The silence between us is deafening, heavy with the weight of everything that has come before. I want to run to her, to hold her, to tell her that I'm sorry for everything, that I forgive her. But I don't. Instead, I stand there, waiting for her to say something to explain. Alice. My voice cracks, the words choking me. Why didn't you tell me the truth? Why did you do this to me? She looks at me with those familiar, sad eyes, but there's something different in them now, something I can't place. Her face softens, but it's clear that she's carrying a burden that's too heavy for her to bear. I couldn't, Max, she says quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't drag you into this. You don't understand what they're capable of, what David, what John Malone, what they've done. I was trying to protect you. I thought if I disappeared, if I died, it would be the only way to keep you safe. Her words are like a punch to the gut, and for a moment, I can't breathe. The man I trusted most in the world, my best friend, is part of this. He was involved in everything. He wasn't just an innocent bystander. He was complicit. I want to scream, to lash out, but I can't. Alice looks at me, her eyes filled with regret. I was trying to escape, she continues, her voice trembling. But I couldn't. David found me, and then I found myself falling in love with you. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I couldn't let you get pulled into this mess. I thought if I disappeared, you'd be safe. I swallow hard, my mind reeling. It doesn't make sense. She's telling me the truth, but it's not the truth I wanted. It's worse. She's been living a lie, and I've been living in it too. The woman I thought was my wife, the woman I thought I knew, has been living in fear of the people she used to work for. Please, Max, she begs, her eyes pleading. You need to get out of here. You need to leave. They're coming for both of us. You don't know what they'll do. Before I can respond, before I can say anything else, I hear a sharp sound, a distant crack, and the world shifts beneath my feet. Alice gasps, her eyes widening in horror. She stumbles backward, her hand clutching her chest. Blood blooms on her shirt, a bright, red stain spreading quickly. Alice! I shout, rushing toward her, but it's too late. She collapses into my arms, her body limp, her breath shallow. Her eyes are wide, filled with pain, but there's something else in them too. A sense of finality. She knows she's not going to make it. I'm sorry, Max, she whispers, her voice barely audible. I wanted to protect you. I really did. But now you're next. I hold her tightly, tears streaming down my face, but I can't stop it. I can't stop what's happening. Her body grows still in my arms, and for the first time, I feel truly alone. As her life slips away, a sharp, cold realization settles in my chest. The game isn't over. It's just begun. And now, I'm a part of it, whether I want to be or not. In the distance, I hear the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching. Whoever was responsible for this is closing in, and there's nothing left to stop them. Nothing left to save me.